The cabin door was already sealed when Captain Ethan Cole stepped out of the cockpit and ordered the gate reopened for one trembling woman in a rain-soaked coat. The operations manager warned him that one more delay could end his career. Passengers raised their phones. A supervisor demanded security. Why would a veteran pilot risk hundreds of connections for a stranger who could not even explain why she had to board? What did Ethan see in the worn envelope clutched against her chest? And why did one child's name make his face go pale? By sunrise, the delay everyone condemned would expose a decision buried for 12 years and change one family cult forever. Stay until the final landing. The cockpit door clicked shut behind Ethan Cole at 7:18 p.m., and the first thing he heard was a woman striking the glass with her palm. "Please, I'm right here." She stood beyond the sealed gate door, rain darkening her coat as she crushed an envelope against her chest. Inside, passengers waited under the dry hum of ventilation. Donna Pike blocked the control panel with her body. "Boarding is closed." Ethan glanced at the jet bridge clock. "We're still connected." "For another 30 seconds, Donna said. "Then we push." The woman mouthed something through the glass. He could not hear it, but he saw the shape of the word children. Trent Vale arrived with his tie loosened and a tablet in hand. "Captain Cole, back to the aircraft." "I need to know why she was denied." "You need to fly the plane." Several passengers had risen near the door. One held up a phone. Another snapped his watch shut. Donna tapped the glass. She missed the cutoff. The woman lifted the envelope. One corner had gone soft from the rain. Black ink bled beneath a county seal. Ethan stepped closer. "What's your name?" he called. She shouted back, but the barrier swallowed most of it. Donna turned away. Trent lowered his voice. "You already have one procedural note this quarter. Interfere with gate operations again, and this becomes your final violation." Ethan did not look at him. Drops of icy rain crawled down the pane between his face and the woman's, bending her features. She opened the envelope with shaking fingers and pressed the first page against the glass. Emergency family hearing. Below it was a child's name. Lily Bennett, age 12. His breath stopped before he could hide it. Donna noticed. "Captain?" She pointed to the page. Her lips formed. "They'll separate them." Trent stepped between Ethan and the window. "This is not our responsibility." Ethan's eyes stayed on the name. 12 years earlier, he had seen it on a hospital bracelet in a family assistance center. He remembered a blue cap and his mother's whisper, "At least this one still has a chance." The tug engine growled beneath the floor. A chime sounded from Dana's console. "Bridge release," she said. Ethan turned towards the aircraft. First Officer Maya Chen stood at the far end of the jet bridge, waiting for his signal. Behind her, warm cabin lights glowed. Trent raised his tablet. "Return to your seat. That is a direct operational instruction." Ethan reached for the wall phone. Dana covered the receiver. "You don't have authority to reopen after closure." "I'm not reopening it yet." "Then what are you doing?" The jet bridge shuddered beneath their feet. Ethan lifted Dana's hand from the phone without asking. He pressed the ramp frequency through a burst of static. "This is Captain Cole on Flight 702. Trent's jaw tightened. "Ethan!" "Stop the pushback." No one moved. Even man recording lowered his phone. The radio crackled. "Flight 702. Confirm stop request." Ethan looked through the glass. Maria Bennett held the soaked envelope against her heart, Lily's name still visible through the rain. "I confirm," he said. "Hold the aircraft exactly where it is." Outside, The tug's amber light froze in the dark, but Dana's console began flashing red. At 6:42 that morning, Maria Bennett tied the last plastic apron into a trash bag. "You're leaving straight from here?" Rosa Alvarez asked. Rosa, 62, supervised nights at Maple Hearth. Silver hair pinned tight, she pushed over a paper cup. "After I see the kids, then the airport. You slept 20 minutes. 23. A call bell chimed. The corridor smelled of oatmeal and disinfectant. November rain tapped the bus shelter roof. Maria rode home with one hand over the court envelope in her backpack. Every red light made her check it. At 7:31, she climbed 3 flights and found Lily turning bread in a dry pan. "You burned yours," Maria said. "I like it dark." 12-year-old Lily wore her mother's blue sweater, cuffs folded twice. Owen, 9, sorted cereal into 3 circles. Sophie, 6, slept across 2 chairs, 1 sock missing. "Did they call?" Lily asked. "Not yet." "That means they changed their minds?" "It means offices open at 8. Owen looked up. "Will the judge ask us questions?" "No. Evelyn will talk. I'll sign the papers, and then I'll come home." "All of us?" Maria set the envelope down. The refrigerator motor clicked off. "All of us." Lily stared at the county seal. "Mr. Cross said temporary placement. If I miss the hearing." "And separate homes?" Maria turned off a burner that was already cold. "I'm not missing it." Sophie woke and crossed the linoleum with her faded blanket. Maria crouched, and the child hugged her neck. "You smell like old soap." "That's my expensive perfume." Sophie whispered, "Bring us good news." Lily straightened a page held to the refrigerator by a red apple magnet. It showed a plane with 3 windows and 1 crooked wing. Beneath it, in uneven letters, were the words, "Come back with good news." Maria touched the paper. 6 weeks after Claire's sudden death, the children still listened for their mother's key at night. A knock sounded. Rosa entered carrying groceries and Maria's knitted hat. "You forgot this," she said, placing it on Maria's head. "And they need breakfast that isn't charcoal." "I didn't burn all of it," Lily said. Rosa inspected the pan. "You'll do well in court." Lily almost smiled. Maria checked the death certificate, school letters, lease, wage statements, and emergency petition. "I'll stay until you return," Rosa said. "My flight lands after midnight." "Then I'll complain until midnight." Maria zipped the bag. "If anything changes, call Evelyn, then Daniel Cross. I have both numbers." At the door, Owen handed her 3 cereal pieces in a napkin. "For the plane." She pocketed them like coins. Lily stood behind the others, arms folded. "Promise you won't let them split us up." Maria's fingers missed the top button twice. She crossed the hallway and placed Lily's hand over the envelope inside her backpack. "I promise I'll be in that courtroom." "That isn't the same promise." "No," Maria said. "It's the one I can keep today." Lily removed the apple magnet, carried the drawing over, and tucked it between the court papers. The bus hissed at the curb below. Maria hugged each child and stepped into freezing rain, the crooked-winged airplane pressed against the future she still believed she could reach. The first bus never came. At 4:58 p.m., Maria stood beneath a cracked shelter while cold rain blew through the opening. The transit app showed "canceled." A recorded voice promised another bus in 40 minutes, then disconnected. She ran 3 blocks and found traffic locked behind an accident. Wet brakes hissed. A driver finally agreed to take her, but every mile cost another minute. "Can you go around?" "Not unless this car grows wings." She checked the envelope in her backpack, then the child's drawing inside it. "Come back with good news." At 5:49, The car stopped beneath the airport awning. Maria pushed through the revolving door. "Gate C-17?" she asked. "End of the East Concourse." The security line crawled beneath white lights. Maria watched the court papers vanish into the scanner, grabbed them, and ran. At 6:13, the speaker crackled. "Final boarding call for passenger Maria Ben." The announcement cut off. Her bootlace came loose beside C9. It slapped the floor with each step, dark with melted snow. A cleaning cart blocked the corridor. Maria twisted around it, struck her shoulder on a sign, and kept moving. At C-17, Donna Pike stood behind the counter. Beside her, Kira Nolan, 24, thin and freckled, watched the boarding screen. "The Denver flight," Maria gasped. "I'm here." Donna did not look up. "Boarding is closed." "The plane is still there." Closed means closed. Through the window, the aircraft remained connected to the jet bridge. "My name was just called." It was called several times. "The bus was canceled. There was an accident. Please scan it." Dana took the pass between two fingers. "One backpack?" "Yes." "No checked luggage?" "No." Dana's gaze moved over Maria's cheap coat, frayed cuff, and soaked boots. "You arrived after cutoff." Kira touched the keyboard. "Door entry says 6:14:22. Dana turned. "I know what it says." Maria looked at the wall clock. 6:15. 90 seconds? The system is final. A man in a charcoal overcoat stood nearby, phone at his ear. Harold Finch, 58, checked his watch before anyone finished speaking. "Some of us have connections," he said. "Don't delay everyone." "I'm not asking everyone. I'm asking her." Donna slid back the pass. "Customer service can rebook you tomorrow." "Tomorrow is too late." "What is in Denver?" Maria pulled out the court envelope. Her fingers were too cold to separate the pages. "A hearing, 3 children." Donna glanced toward the jet bridge, then at Harold. "You should have planned better." Kira's hands stopped above the keys. "Please," Maria said. "Just ask the captain." "We do not call the captain for passengers who miss boarding." "My niece is 12. Her brothers are 9 and 6. If I'm not in court by 9, they can be placed separately." Harold lowered his phone, then looked away. Kira whispered, "The bridge hasn't moved." Dana reached past her and closed the passenger record. "Now it has." A lock clicked inside the gate door. Maria stepped to the window and raised the envelope. Rain traced thin lines down the glass. Her loose lace lay beneath her heel. Then the cockpit opened, and a silver-haired captain walked into the jet bridge. Maria flattened the court notice against the counter. "Please read the first paragraph." Dana Pike kept one hand on the keyboard. "Ma'am, the flight is closed. The hearing starts at 9. The letter from the social worker explains, you'll need customer service." Maria slid both pages beneath the clear plastic partition. The corner of the court notice caught under its metal frame. Donna pressed the papers back with 2 fingers, slowly enough to crease the seal. "Please don't do that," Maria said. "Then take your documents." "They're not just documents." Behind Dana, the boarding monitor still showed one empty seat, 18A. Kira Nolan saw it too. The pale square blinked beside Bennett, Maria. Kira leaned closer. "The bridge is still attached." Dana did not turn. "Close the record." "The passenger is here." "Close it." Maria gripped the counter. Cold water ran from her sleeves and gathered beneath her wrists. "Ask the captain. That's all I'm asking." Harold Finch stopped nearby, lowering his phone. Dana lowered her voice. "The captain does not decide who arrives on time." The announcement was still playing when I reached the concourse. "You reached this desk after closure." "By 90 seconds." Kira's finger hovered above the final close command. Amber lights moved beneath the aircraft, but the bridge had not retracted. 2 keystrokes could reopen the record. Maria saw Kira's hand begin to shake. A sharp voice came from behind them. "Why is this gate still active?" Trent Vale approached without removing his coat. His centered tie and clipped steps made the corridor feel like his. Donna straightened. "Late passenger. I'm completing closure." Trent checked the display. "Flight 702 is already flagged for delay. Finish it." Maria turned. "Sir, I have an emergency family hearing. Customer service will assist you. They'll separate 3 children if I miss it. That is not an airport operations matter." She lifted the social worker's letter. "It can be verified in 1 call." Trent glanced at the damp page without taking it. "We cannot pause a departure for every personal explanation." "Not every explanation. This one." Harold shifted his weight. The rubber heel of his shoe squeaked once. Kira said, "Mr. Vale, seat 18A is open and the bridge status is still green." Trent looked at her badge. "Are you the senior agent?" "No." "Then follow the senior agent's instruction." Cold air lifted the edge of Maria's letter. She caught it. Donna tapped the key. The empty seat square disappeared. "There! Manifest locked." Kira swallowed. "But the door log—" "Enough." Maria pushed the letter under the partition again. "Read the name. Lily Bennett. She's 12. The paper snagged. Donna's fingers met Maria's through the narrow gap, separated by less than an inch of plastic. "Take it back," Dana said. Maria pulled. The corner tore with a dry sound. No one spoke. The departure board changed from boarding closed to departing, and Harold lowered his gaze. Then a latch opened inside the jet bridge. Footsteps approached from the aircraft side, measured and unhurried, while Kira stared up at the vanished name on her screen. At 6:16 p.m., the interphone crackled again inside the cockpit. "Captain, gate says we're waiting on paperwork," Samuel Reed said from the forward galley. Ethan kept one hand on the checklist. "What paperwork?" A pause. Cabin air hummed through the vents. Beyond the windshield, the wet tarmac shone like black glass. "Not sure," Samuel replied, "but people are standing." Maya Chen looked over from the right seat. 34, sharp-eyed, hair pinned tight for a 12-hour duty day. "Do you want me to call operations?" Ethan unfastened his shoulder belt. "I'll take a look." "You've got 4 minutes to slot," Maya said. "I know." He stepped into the galley. Coffee, reheated bread, and the metallic chill of conditioned air met him at once. Samuel, 52, broad-shouldered and always neat, lowered his voice. "Couple of passengers filming. One woman outside the gate. Drenched. Did anyone brief you?" "Only that the door's closed and the argument isn't." Ethan crossed the jet bridge and reached the gate just as Dana pushed a set of papers back under the partition. A woman in a rain-dark coat caught them before they slid to the floor. Trent Vale was already there, face tight, tablet against his side. "Captain Cole," Trent said, "this is handled." Ethan had every intention of turning around. He had seen late passengers before, missed alarms, long coffees, last-minute drama dressed as emergency. He looked once at the soaked woman and was ready to leave. Then she lifted the envelope again. Bennett. His eyes moved lower. Lily Bennett. The sound around him blurred for a second. The overhead announcement, a rolling suitcase, the tug engine outside. He held out his hand. "May I see that?" Maria hesitated, then passed him the envelope through the opening Dana had left. "It's a court notice," Dana said. "She arrived after closure." Ethan heard her, but he was looking at the back flap. Near the torn edge sat a faint blue imprint, almost erased by time and water. Open Door Family Fund. His thumb stopped on the stamp. 12 years earlier, he had stood in a family resource center that smelled of baby powder and copier heat. He remembered metal chairs, tired caseworkers, and a young mother crying into a hospital blanket. A volunteer had handed him a newborn file marked Bennett Lilly. He had approved emergency assistance through a fund no one knew belonged to him. "Captain?" Maya's voice came through the open interphone line from the aircraft. "You still with me?" He did not answer at once. Maria watched his face. "I need to be in Denver by morning." Trent stepped forward. This is not relevant to the departure. Ethan turned the first page. Emergency family hearing. The paper was damp and soft at the corners. Attached behind it was a letter signed by a county social worker. "If I miss it," Maria said, "they can move the children tonight." Donna crossed her arms. "That's what she says." Maria's mouth tightened. "That's what the court says." Samuel had come up behind Ethan without a sound. He glanced at the papers, then at the woman's shaking hands. "Captain," he murmured. "Push crew is waiting." Ethan handed the envelope back, more carefully this time. "How many children?" "3," Maria said. "My niece and her 2 brothers." Trent exhaled through his nose. "We are done here." Outside, the tug light began to move. Ethan looked once more at the faded stamp, then at the child's name disappearing beneath Maria's thumb, and lifted the wall phone as if the decision had been waiting for him long before he reached the gate. "Put the phone down, Captain." Trent's voice stayed low, but it carried across the gate. Ethan kept the receiver in his hand. "What happens if we reopen?" "Security reset. New manifest. We lose our slot, and every passenger with a connection files a complaint." Trent tapped his tablet. 1 minute becomes 40. Rain rattled against the windows. Maria stood in a dripping coat, the envelope bent beneath her fingers. Harold Finch moved closer. "People have jobs to get to." He raised his phone toward Maria. "This is what happens when one person thinks the rules don't apply to her. Please don't film me." "Then stop holding up the flight." "I'm not on the flight." "That's the point." Passengers shifted behind him. A woman hugged her carry-on. The jet bridge whined beneath the silence. Ethan rested the receiver against his shoulder. "Mrs. Bennett." "Maria." "1 sentence. Why can't this wait?" Trent turned. "You do not need her story." "I asked for 1 sentence." Maria opened her mouth, but nothing came. Her teeth touched once. She pressed the envelope to her ribs. Harold kept filming. "At 9 tomorrow morning," she said. "I have to sign permanent care papers in Denver, or my sister's 3 children will be sent to foster homes in 3 different cities." Harold's phone dropped to his side. The red recording light still glowed against his knuckles. "Their mother died 6 weeks ago," Maria continued. "Lily is 12. She sleeps with the hall light on because she thinks someone will come before breakfast and take her brothers." Harold looked at the people watching him. His mouth tightened. Then he raised the phone again. Donna saw it and turned away. Trent did not. A tragic circumstance does not remove procedure. "What security risk changed in 90 seconds?" Ethan asked. "The door closed." "That's a status, not a risk." "It is the rule." Behind the counter, seat 18A still glowed on Kira's secondary screen. She shifted to hide it from Trent. Maria noticed. "Can it still be done?" Kira's lips parted. "Kira," Dana warned. "The bridge is connected," the younger agent said. "That wasn't the question," Trent replied. Cold air slipped through the gate door seam. Maria's loose lace dragged over the tile as she stepped closer. I can sit anywhere. I have no bag except this. Search it again. Search me again. Harold's camera followed her. Samuel Reed appeared at the jet bridge. Captain, the cabin wants an explanation. The truth, Trent said. A late passenger is causing an operational delay. Maria's hand tightened around the envelope. Its torn corner trembled. Ethan looked at Samuel. Tell them we're holding for a safety review. Trent's tablet struck the counter. That is false. No, we're reviewing whether haste is making this operation unsafe. A warning tone sounded twice. Dana reached for the controls. If you force this, Trent said, the complaint enters your file tonight. Ethan hung up the receiver. The cradle snapped into place. Then spell my name correctly. He faced Maria. Stay where you are. Outside, the tug engine rose in pitch. Trent reached for his radio, and Harold's phone captured Ethan stepping between Dana and the bridge controls. Ramp control, Cole on 702. Confirm our push window. Static hissed through the wall phone. Flight 702, Nina Ward. 6 minutes before reassignment. Can the bridge be restored safely? Affirmative, if gate control authorizes now. Ethan looked at Trent. You heard her. Trent raised his radio. Operations to ramp. Cancel bridge return for 702. Nina's voice sharpened. The captain requested hold and restore. Captain has exceeded gate authority, Trent replied. Maintain status. The jet bridge stopped mid-cycle, jolting beneath Ethan's shoes. Maria stood beyond the glass, one hand on the envelope, the other holding her boarding pass. Ethan pressed transmit. Nina, log my instruction. Restore the bridge. Logged. Trent stepped closer. And I'm logging refusal. You're blocking a safe operation. I'm protecting the schedule. You're protecting a number. Passengers formed a half circle. Harold Finch kept filming. Dana reached through the partition gap. I need the pass. Maria hesitated. Why? To process a rebooking. I'm not rebooking. You are not boarding. Maria held it against her coat. The captain said wait. The captain doesn't control this desk. Dana caught one edge. Maria held the other. Please let go, Maria said. Do not create another incident. The plastic flexed. Then it cracked. One half stayed in Dana's hand. The other fell beside Maria's wet boots. Her name split through the middle. The sound was tiny. It carried farther than Trent's radio. Kira looked down. Harold lowered his phone. Maria bent for the broken piece. Her fingers missed it once. Ethan's voice dropped. Give her the rest. Dana stared at him. Now. She placed her half on the counter instead. Trent keyed his radio. Airport services to Gate C-17. Officer response requested for operational interference. Kira whispered, Mr. Vale, that isn't necessary. It is when instructions stop being followed. A chime sounded. The staff elevator opened to Leon Brooks, 42, in a Navy Airport Services jacket. He approached without hurry. Who called? I did, Trent said. Captain Cole is obstructing departure and attempting unauthorized access. Leon looked at Ethan, then at Maria, crouched beside the torn pass. Anyone threatened? No, Kira said. Trent answered over her. Authority has been challenged. Leon glanced at Harold's phone. Is there video? Harold swallowed. Yes. The bridge alarm pulsed. Ethan offered Leon the phone. Ramp confirms a safe window. Trent moved between them. Remove him from the gate area. Leon did not take the receiver. Captain, step away from the controls. If I do, he closes the window. That's not my decision. No, Ethan said. That's the problem. Dana pressed the elevator button for bridge access. The doors opened on the narrow service passage. Maria stepped toward it. Trent blocked her. Absolutely not. The doors began to close. Ethan moved, but Leon placed an arm across his path. Maria stood beyond the narrowing gap, clutching two broken pieces of her name. The elevator doors met with a soft rubber seal, and the bridge light changed from amber to red. The room had no clock. Leon Brooks closed the door behind Ethan. A metal table stood beneath fluorescent panels that buzzed without rhythm. The air smelled of cold coffee and wet wool. Grant Mercer entered with a yellow folder. The duty flight manager smoothed every page before speaking. Captain Cole, you are temporarily removed from Flight 702. For how long? Until I understand why you countermanded operations. The aircraft had a safe window. Trent says you attempted an unauthorized reopening. Ask Nina Ward. I will. First, surrender your credentials. Ethan unclipped the badge from his chest and set it on the table. It slid an inch before Grant stopped it. Beyond the wall, an announcement named another Denver departure. Ethan caught the arrival time. Too late. At C-17, Maria sat beneath the dark boarding display under an officer's watch. Dana worked without looking at her. The next flight lands at 11:46, Kira said. The courthouse is 40 minutes from the airport. In good weather. Rain struck the windows. Put me on standby somewhere else. I checked every connection. Check again. Kira did. Her fingers moved quickly, then slowed. Nothing arrives before 10:20. Maria tried 2 wall outlets before calling Rosa with 2% battery. Lily answered. Aunt Maria? I'm here. Are you on the plane? Maria watched workers pull the bridge away. Not yet. Owen says judges wait when planes are late. Sometimes. Will this one? The battery symbol turned red. Listen to me, Maria said. Keep the blue folder by the door. Make sure Sophie takes her medicine after breakfast. Aunt Maria. I'm listening. You're still coming, right? The screen went black. Maria tapped it, then held the power button until her thumb hurt. Nothing returned. The terminal lights reflected only her face in the dead glass. In the service room, Grant opened the folder. This is your second dispute with ground operations in 3 months. The first involved an unsecured maintenance panel. And you were correct. That does not make you correct every time. Ethan reached into his wallet and placed a photograph beside his surrendered badge. 2 boys stood on cracked concrete. Ethan was 13. His younger brother, Thomas, was 8, and gripping Ethan's sleeve with both hands. That was the morning they separated us. Grant studied the picture. No one told us until the cars arrived, Ethan said. Thomas kept asking if we had done something wrong. What happened to him? 7 homes in 4 years. When I found him again, he no longer believed promises. Fluorescent buzzing filled the room. Grant pushed the photograph back. Personal history cannot dictate operations. No, but it can tell you when procedure is about to do permanent damage. A knock interrupted them. Kira entered, breathing hard, a service tablet against her chest. Mr. Mercer, I found something in the door log. You should be at the gate. I know. She placed the tablet between the photograph and Ethan's badge. 2 timestamps glowed on the screen. One showed when Dana had marked boarding closed. The other showed when the door had actually locked. There were 4 minutes between them. Kira enlarged the log until 2 timestamps filled the tablet. 6:10:14. Boarding closed. 6:14:22. Gate door locked. Grant Mercer read them twice. The first entry? Manual, Kira said. Dana's credentials. The second? The door sensor. It can't be edited here. Ethan stood beside the metal table, his old photograph touching his surrendered badge. Maria reached C-17 before 6:14, he said. Kira nodded. I heard the final call cut off while she was running. Grant's chair scraped the floor. Save the audit trail. I already did. Where? 3 places. For the first time, he looked at her instead of the screen. In the cockpit, Maya Chen answered immediately. Kira? I need you to verify something with ramp. Don't use the gate channel. The image arrived. 2 times, 4 minutes apart. Maya called Nina Ward. Could the bridge have been restored at 6:16? Keys rattled over the line. Yes, Nina said. The push window remained protected until 6:22. Captain Cole's request was logged at 6:17. Any safety restriction? None. Operations canceled the return. Maya wrote the words on the back of the flight release. Will you repeat that on a recorded line? Nina paused. Call me. At C-17, Harold Finch replayed his video beside a charging column. On screen, Maria ran into frame while the bridge indicator still glowed green. The wall clock showed 6:13:51. He dragged the clip backward and watched her appear again, bent over, one lace loose. Across the gate, Maria sat beneath the dark monitor, trying a borrowed cable that did not fit her phone. I filmed the clock, Harold told Kira when she returned. Yes. She was here before the door locked? Kira glanced toward Dana. Yes. Harold lowered his voice. I said she made everyone wait. You weren't the one who closed the door. I helped make it easier. He stared at the frozen image of Maria's palm against the glass, then deleted the caption he had posted. The video remained. Donna came around the counter. What are you doing? Checking the time. You cannot record staff systems. I recorded the public clock. Trent emerged from the operations office. Mr. Finch, put the phone away. Several passengers turned. The same people who had watched Maria. No, Harold said. Not yet. The service room door opened. Grant stepped out with the tablet, followed by Ethan and Leon. Ethan's badge remained inside. Maya's voice came through Grant's phone. Nina confirms the bridge could have been safely restored. She'll provide the recording. Trent's expression stayed flat, but his fingers tightened around the radio. Grant faced Dana. Did you mark boarding closed 4 minutes early? Dana looked at Kira, then at the passengers. We were protecting departure performance. That was not my question. The terminal quieted. Rain tapped faintly against the glass. Harold raised his phone. My video shows when she arrived. Maria stood, the dead phone and broken boarding pass in one hand. Grant compared the video with the tablet, then looked toward the waiting aircraft. Do not release that plane, he said. Across the gate, the bridge status light changed from red to amber. Maya Chen came out of the cockpit, carrying the flight release. I need every crew member to confirm one thing, she said. If Captain Cole is reinstated, are you willing to continue? Samuel Reed signed first. Yes. The other attendants added their names. Maya handed the sheet to Grant. Full crew concurrence. Grant raised his phone. Nina Ward was still on the line. I can offer 7:02 a departure slot at 6:41, she said. Bridge restored by 6:28. Manifest corrected by 6:33. And if we miss it? Next opening is after 8. Rain hammered the windows. At the charging column, Harold deleted the post he had written about Maria. The words vanished, but the share count remained. He faced the passengers. My video shows she reached the gate before the door locked. A man near the window frowned. You said she was late. I was wrong. You posted her face. Harold swallowed. I removed the comment. That doesn't remove the copies, Maria said. He held his phone out to Grant. Take the video. All of it. Grant compared the footage, Kira's audit log, Nina's statement, and Maria's court notice. Trent stood beside him, hands behind his back. This changes nothing about Captain Cole exceeding authority, Trent said. It changes the basis of the closure, Grant replied. The passenger still lacked clearance. She had a valid boarding pass, which was voided. After she arrived, Donna had gone pale. Kira stood behind her, clutching the tablet. Grant looked at Ethan. You should have escalated through me. There wasn't time. You created a conflict at an active gate. Yes. You also preserved the only safe window left. Ethan said nothing. Grant returned the badge across the counter. Captain Cole, you are reinstated to Flight 702, effective now. Ethan clipped it to his jacket. Trent stepped forward. Grant, think carefully. I am. You and Dana are relieved from this departure pending review. Dana's hand moved toward the console, then stopped. Grant faced Kira. Can you reopen the passenger record? Yes. Do it. Her fingers struck the keys. Seat 18A returned. Manifest unlocked, she said. Passenger restored. Maria did not move. She held the two halves of her boarding pass as though they might break again. Samuel opened the aircraft side door. Warm cabin air rolled into the gate. Grant pressed the bridge control. The indicator above the door remained a hard red bar. Motors groaned beyond the wall. The floor vibrated beneath Maria's wet boots. Then the red vanished. A green light came on. No one spoke. Kira printed a new boarding pass and placed it on the counter without pushing it beneath the partition. Ms. Bennett, she said, you may board. Maria took it. Her fingers left a damp mark on the paper. Ethan stepped aside, leaving the path open. She looked at him. What did this cost you? We haven't taken off yet. Nina's voice came over Grant's phone. 7:02. Your slot is holding. 16 minutes. Ethan glanced toward the cockpit. Then we use everyone. Maria entered the jet bridge, and the gate doors closed behind her, not to keep her out, but to carry her toward the promise waiting in Denver. Maria stepped into the cabin at 6:27 p.m., and every face seemed to turn. Water tapped from her cold coat as she passed the first row, carrying the smell of rain into the warm cabin. No one spoke. A woman folded her newspaper. A teenager lowered his headphones. Somewhere behind row 12, a child asked, "Is that her?" and was hushed. Samuel Reed met Maria beside the galley. Seat 18A is halfway down. She nodded, though the row numbers blurred. One hand held the court envelope. The other held the two broken pieces of her first boarding pass. At row 18, Harold Finch stood. "Take my seat," he said. Maria checked above him. "This is 6C. It's closer to the front. You'll get off sooner. You paid for it. That doesn't make it more important." Passengers watched. Harold moved his briefcase and stepped aside. "I filmed you," he said quietly. "I made it worse." Maria looked at the phone in his hand. "Did you send it?" "To too many people." "Then send the correction to the same ones." "I will." She waited. Harold unlocked the screen and began typing before she sat. Samuel brought a charging cable. "Try this." The connector fit, but Maria's phone stayed black. "Give it a minute," he said. She folded her coat beneath the seat. From the envelope, she removed the broken pass. One half carried her surname, the other, Denver. "Do you have tape?" Samuel returned with a narrow dispenser. Maria laid both pieces across her knees. The bridge shifted outside. She aligned the torn edges and smoothed a strip of clear tape over them, joining her name to her destination again. Harold watched from across the aisle. "You have a new pass," he said. "This one belonged to the moment they said I didn't." Her phone lit at 1%. She called Rosa. Lily answered immediately. "Aunt Maria? I'm on the plane." A small breath crossed the line. "You made it?" "I'm near the front." "Did they read the papers?" "One person did." Maria glanced toward the cockpit door. "Are they still going to split us up?" Lily asked. "I'm coming to sign everything." "That's not what I asked." Maria pressed her thumb over the taped seam. "No," she said. "Not without hearing me first." "Put Rosa on." "She's making Owen eat peas." "Tell her to keep the blue folder by the door. I'll call after landing." Lily lowered her voice. "I knew you'd come." The line ended before Maria could answer. Samuel secured the galley. Outside, the jet bridge pulled away with a mechanical groan. The aircraft began to vibrate. Ethan's voice came over the speakers. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is Captain Cole. Tonight's delay was my decision. Your crew and the passenger involved followed the instructions given to them. Any complaint about the delay belongs with me, and with me alone." He did not say Maria's name. Harold lowered his head. Someone began to clap once, then stopped. The restraint was kinder than applause. Maria folded the repaired pass and placed it beside the child's drawing. The engines deepened. Blue taxiway lights slid across the window. Then Samuel's handset rang. He listened, looked toward Maria, and said, "Captain Cole needs the exact address of the courthouse." At 7:54 p.m., Samuel returned with a notepad. "Courthouse address?" Maria gave it to him. "Family Division, East Entrance. Evelyn Shaw is my attorney." Samuel repeated the number into the handset while the cabin climbed through cloud. Ice whispered across the window. 20 minutes later, Ethan stepped out of the cockpit and stopped beside 6C. "Ms. Bennett, may I sit?" Maria moved the envelope from the empty seat. He placed his phone between them. A tired voice answered. "Evelyn Shaw. Maria, where are you?" "In the air." "Arrival is 8:17. The hearing starts at 9. "I know. I requested a delay. The clerk promised nothing." Ethan said, "Ground transport can meet the aircraft if the airport approves direct pickup." Evelyn paused. "Who is this?" "Captain Cole." "The captain?" "The one who delayed the flight." "Send the entrance, case number, and your direct line," Ethan said. When the call ended, Maria studied him. "Why are you doing this?" Ethan turned the envelope over. The faded blue stamp showed beneath the cabin light. "This belongs to the Open Door Family Fund. They found Evelyn for us. I started it." Maria's hand stopped over the taped boarding pass. Ethan removed an old photograph from his wallet. 2 boys stood outside a foster home, one gripping the other's sleeve. Then he laid down a second image, a newborn in a blue cap, held by an older woman with Ethan's eyes. "That's my brother Thomas," he said. "We were separated when I was 13. "And the baby?" "Lily Bennett." Maria looked up. "My mother volunteered at the center. She held Lily while emergency placement was arranged. I approved the first grant anonymously. Why didn't anyone tell me?" "The fund keeps donors out of families' lives." "What happened to Thomas?" "He moved through 7 homes. We found each other years later." Ethan touched the photo once. "He died before we learned how to be brothers again." A message lit Ethan's phone. He read it twice. "The fund paid Evelyn's retainer," he said, "and filed a transport request yesterday." Maria blinked. "Then why was I on the bus?" He called the coordinator. "Pull the Bennett file." Keys clicked through the speaker. Legal aid approved, the coordinator said. Transport marked incomplete. Why? It went to general intake. No one reopened it. Maria leaned back. The ride was supposed to be arranged? Ms. Bennett, I'm sorry, the coordinator said. Sorry, put me at a locked gate. Ethan's voice stayed level. Document the failure. Authorize a car from the aircraft door. Copy Evelyn and the court clerk. Yes, sir. Wake the program director. The call ended. Maria stared at the two photographs. All day, people said I should have planned better. Ethan slid Lily's picture toward her. You did. The people paid to carry the plan dropped it. Samuel approached with a printed message. Car confirmed at arrival gate. Maria exhaled, then saw the time. Ethan followed her eyes. Weather over Denver may cost 20 minutes. The cabin lights dimmed. Black cloud swallowed the wing. Maria placed baby Lily's photograph beside the repaired pass. Then Ethan's phone rang, and Evelyn said the judge had refused to move the hearing past 9. The aircraft door opened at 8:21 a.m. Maria was already standing. Samuel handed her the court envelope, repaired boarding pass, and child's drawing. Car is below. Cold air struck her face. The driver opened the rear door. East entrance, Maria said. Tires hissed over salted roads. Maria called Evelyn. I'm 12 minutes out. You have less. The delay? I asked for 10 minutes. Judge Marsh granted 3. Be in the hallway by 9:03. The car stopped at 8:59. Maria ran through security in her rain-stiff coat. One lace came loose again. Evelyn Shaw waited beside courtroom 4. 46 and small-framed, she took the envelope. School letters? Front pocket. Lease? Blue folder. Financial guarantee? Maria handed over Ethan's authorization. The doors opened. Judge Helen Marsh, 61, sat beneath a wooden seal. Her gray hair was cut close, and she read without moving her lips. Ms. Bennett, the matter was called at 9. Maria checked the clock. 9:03. I understand. You were warned failure to appear could affect placement. Yes, Your Honor. Evelyn rose. The delay resulted from a documented airport error. Across the aisle, Daniel Cross stood. 33, county social worker, blue tie, crooked from an early drive. The department confirms Ms. Bennett remained in transit, he said. The children are together now, but that arrangement expires today. Judge Marsh turned a page. Your recommendation? Daniel looked at Maria. Keep them together. Evelyn presented the care plan, Maria's schedule, Rosa's support statement, school records, and the fund's guarantee for housing and supervision. The judge examined each document. You work nights? Yes. Who handles mornings? Rosa until school. I sleep while they're gone. And emergencies? Rosa first. Daniel second. I leave work. What if this becomes permanent? Maria gripped her damp sleeve. It already is to them. Maria added, I'm asking the paperwork to tell the truth. For several seconds, only the vent hummed. Then Judge Marsh said, the court finds separation would cause avoidable harm. Permanent guardianship is granted to Maria Bennett, subject to 6 months of family program supervision. Daniel lowered his eyes and smiled once. The siblings will remain together, effective immediately. Maria did not smile. She removed the drawing, the crooked airplane, 3 windows, 1 uneven wing. She pressed it to her lips and finally released the breath she had carried from gate C-17. Evelyn touched her elbow. It's done. No, Maria whispered. Now I call them. In the hallway, Lily answered on the first ring. Maria said only, pack nothing. A cry broke through the phone. Owen shouted, Sophie asked what happened. "You're staying home," Maria told them. "All three of you." As Rosa gathered the children around the phone, Evelyn's screen lit with a message from Ethan. Internal review confirms altered gate timestamps. Formal hearing scheduled. Below it was another line. Kira saved the original log. Maria folded the drawing into the envelope. The court had kept one family together. Now the airport had to explain why 4 stolen minutes had nearly torn it apart. The hearing began at 10 a.m. in a windowless room above the terminal. Rebecca Stone, 49, chaired the commission. She aligned 4 folders and clicked her pen when someone avoided a question. Ms. Nolan, who entered the early closure time? Kira held a paper cup with both hands. Donna Pike, using her own credentials. Why preserve the audit trail? Because I was told to close a record that was still true. Across the table, Donna's shoulders drew inward. Maya testified next. She described the 6-minute safety window and Trent's cancellation over the operations channel. Then Nina Ward's recorded voice filled the room. No safety restriction existed. The bridge could have been restored. Harold placed his phone on the table. His video showed Maria reaching C-17 before the gate door locked. The image froze on her loose lace and raised envelope. "I called her irresponsible," he said. "People believed me because I sounded certain." Rebecca stopped clicking her pen. "Were you?" "No." Trent leaned toward his attorney. "Passenger policy is clear." "So is record integrity," Rebecca replied. 3 months of reports showed the same pattern. Early closures, warnings not to amend entries, delays shifted away from Trent's division. Kira stared at the columns. "I thought it happened only that night." "It did not," Rebecca said. Dana finally spoke. "He told us punctuality was the only number headquarters saw." Trent turned on her. "You made your own entries." "After you read the names of agents with poor scores at every morning briefing." The ventilation system sighed above them. Maria sat behind Ethan with the repaired boarding pass inside her envelope. When Rebecca invited her to speak, Maria shook her head. The evidence already spoke. Dana stood. From a folder, she removed a newly printed pass. Bennett, Maria, 18A. She laid it on the table, flat and unbroken. "I keep hearing the sound the first one made," she said. Her eyes remained on the carpet. "I can't undo it." Maria did not touch the pass. "No." Dana waited. "But you can stop doing it to the next person." Before noon, Rebecca ruled. Donna was removed from supervisory duty and assigned retraining under monitored review. Trent's position was terminated for falsifying performance practices, pressuring staff, and obstructing a documented safety decision. Rebecca turned to Ethan. "The company is prepared to offer compensation and a written apology." "I'll take the apology." "And the compensation?" "Use it to build a procedure that works before someone needs one." He slid a proposal across the table. It required independent review of verified emergencies, protection for employees who preserved records, and a ban on rating gate staff solely by closure speed. Rebecca read the title. "Open Door Protocol." Trent gave a short laugh. "You would slow the system for exceptions." Ethan met his eyes. "A system that cannot examine an exception is blind." Rebecca signed the pilot order. 12 airports would adopt it. When the room emptied, Donna's new pass remained beneath the fluorescent light. Maria picked it up, folded it once, and placed it beside the broken one. 6 months later, both would hang in the same wooden frame. At 6:40 a.m., 3 blue backpacks stood beneath the front window of Maria's rented house, each one zipped and waiting. Above them hung a simple wooden frame. Inside it, The broken boarding pass had been joined with clear tape. Bennett. Maria rested beside Denver as if the tear had become part of the route. "Shoes," Maria called. Owen appeared carrying one sneaker. Sophie followed with toast in her mouth. Lily came last, taller now, her mother's blue sweater folded over one arm. "You're wearing that today?" Maria asked. "For luck." Maria adjusted the collar of her training uniform. In 2 hours, she would complete the final assessment for her elder care certification. 6 months earlier, she had crossed an airport in a soaked coat, with no guarantee the children would still be together by morning. Now their lunchboxes crowded the counter. A car stopped outside. Ethan stood on the porch holding a paper bag. "You came early," Maria said. "I was told there would be burnt toast." Lily opened the door wider. "That was one time." At the new Family Travel Assistance Center near the airport, sunlight filled a room that once held unused ticket counters. The open-door protocol was posted behind the desk: emergency verification, independent review, employee protection, and direct transport support. 12 airports had adopted it. Kira now trained staff on preserving records. Maya had been promoted to captain. Harold had funded charging stations and legal information kiosks without putting his name on them. Nina's testimony had become part of operations training. Rebecca handed Ethan ceremonial scissors. "This was your proposal," she said. "It was everyone's evidence." Maria and the children stood beside him. When the ribbon fell, Sophie clapped too soon, then again at the right time. Dana waited near the back wall in a plain instructor's badge. She no longer supervised anyone. Her retraining had become a permanent role teaching passenger care scenarios. After the crowd moved away, she approached Maria. "I brought something." It was a new boarding pass in a clear sleeve. Maria looked at it. "I already have one." "I know." Dana's fingers tightened around the sleeve. "I kept thinking an apology would sound like I wanted you to make me feel better." Maria said nothing. "I saw a late passenger," Dana continued. "I stopped seeing a person." Lily stood close enough to hear. Maria took the sleeve. "I accept that you came here. The rest takes longer." Dana nodded. "It should." Ethan walked her to the exit. "Do you forgive me?" Dana asked. He watched families entering beneath the new sign. "I believe you're doing the work," he said. "That's enough for today." That evening, Maria returned home with her certification envelope. The children gathered around the kitchen table as she opened it. "Passed," she said. Owen cheered. Sophie asked whether that meant they could buy a dog. Lily crossed the room and moved the 3 backpacks closer together beneath the window. Outside, an aircraft turned across the orange sky. Ethan stood in the doorway, ready to leave for the airport. Maria touched the wooden frame. "Do you ever wish you had opened the door sooner?" He looked at the taped seam. "I wish no one had needed me to." Then he stepped into the evening, while 3 blue backpacks waited side by side for morning. Have you ever seen one quiet decision change the course of someone's life? Share your story in the comments, especially if you have witnessed a moment when dignity was protected, or ignored, by a person with the power to choose differently. Share this story with someone who believes justice is not only about punishment, but also about changing the rules that allowed harm to happen. Subscribe for more stories about fairness, quiet resilience, second chances, and the people who push broken systems toward something better. And remember Maria's repaired boarding pass. What has been torn may never look untouched again, but it can still be carried forward with honesty.